Hello, hello. Hello. I am your host, Kevin Fisher of the Officer Factory, and welcome to Build Along Friday. Okay, it is currently Monday, September 26, 2022. I lost track of when this is going to get uploaded. It's going to be sometime in October. That's all I know. So, what are we building? Well, we are continuing with the Stargrave Crew 2. Just building up 5 today, as usual. So far, I got no copyright strikes with me using the music through YouTube. For a video, I'm uploading to YouTube. Loophole found? I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I don't think so. Yes, maybe there's a loophole for now. But just give it a couple months to years. I'm sure they'll close it really tight, really quick. But I'm not monetizing. So, I don't know. Yay for me, I guess. Alright. So instead of music, it would be podcast or live stream replay. Rot Guy, number 17. I am, where am I? 27 minutes, 33 seconds in. Let's go.
So I thought I could look at them and examine them. Oh, but they're like all over. You could certainly just pick them up off the ground. I mean, hell, you're standing in one right now. She looks down. There's like a tattered, broken shield. Ah! She like immediately goes to investigate, has her lantern out. The sort of blue glow comes over everything here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, yeah. This all makes sense. Would you like to expand on that? Well, this shield is one of the Prince's legionaries, at least based on the markings that I'm seeing here. Let me take a more in-depth look and see what I could perhaps find about this. Yeah. And like she starts like investigating and is looking over every little niche and section of this, attempting to kind of analyze and see what she can find about it.
What am I going to build?
Yes. So this is from the Prince's Legion. The prince, who at the time wasn't ascended yet, he came here after the deities of the first house. They all of them they ascended and became deities. The prince was one of the king's bastard children. He went on to the Monracht Expanse, where he learned tutelage there, and after that he raised an army, but rather than take over the inheritor lands at Bridoma, he came here to claim Outset, believing that the city would be a beacon from which he could rule a far larger empire. They came ashore to the south of here. That's the port area of Torort. The prince's fleet crashed along the shores. All of the ships crashed up on the shores, and then disgorged his legions, which went to siege Outset at the time. It was what was that? She's like pulling out like a tome from her back and checking some. Yes, that was when he confronted the shining beneficite that ruled Outset at the time. This was all about 1,500 years ago.
I see. And what happened? I'm thinking I'm in the mood for a bit of a history lesson.
Outset has been besieged countless times in the far past. As you can see here, there's the Perfectite sieges, there's Fey sieges. The siege tower is probably from an old Perfectite siege of thousands, maybe even more years in the past. It could even date back to the first sieges before this entire continent was sundered by the old powers.
I can't imagine a siege being especially effective against a city like Outset. You would think that their underground catacombs would give them access to some way to grow enough food to sustain the defenders and rulers, if nothing else.
Then the sieges of the older times were different. At that time, the buried city was nowhere near as large. The city hadn't quite sunk in as much as it has in modern day. But also, there are notes. Some of these siege towers could fly. I assume this cube at one point maybe was floating above the ground.
Interesting.
That's cool.
I would very much like to know how those Perfectite sieges proceeded. It would be very useful in understanding how best to rip apart the foundations of, the historian reasons.
Yeah, take it easy there.
She quirks her eyebrow at you. What were you hoping to find out here again?
Bugs.
He does like bugs.
I don't like bugs.
Yeah,
They are
bugs.
Do you
just...
like how they taste?
I don't like how they taste. It's just survival. Oren likes how they taste. I just
That is
have
true.
sometimes afterwards.
Well, it's surprising that you're so interested in the bugs. I mean, the Perfectites, they would probably kill any bugs that would attempt to enter into their... If there, as you say, there are some still active. Though that is also a concern, because generally those types of outsiders, they go inert once they are... unless something has recently traipsed on their domain.
Interesting. So we think that people might be in there? Somebody beat us to this place?
Perhaps.
Well, certainly. They have given all the equipment and stuff, but we see a lot of signs of people going in. Do we see the people coming out?
Yes. We did see a Perfectite. What was the word again? DM.
Particulum.
Particulum. A particulum exiting out of the structure. It did so in a sort of lackadaisical way, as if it was on a common patrol, or perhaps seeking out a general understanding of its environment. If it was being invaded on the inside, unless it had been already compromised, I doubt that it would be so lackadaisical in its pursuit. I doubt we would have seen it.
Interesting. So, I guess the question remains, are we going to crack into that place, or are we moving on?
I believe to be of scientific interest, but I'm curious as to what the rest of us believe.
If we have the time, it wouldn't hurt to look in and see if we can find anything useful.
good enough.
We could actually use in there.
That is true.
It's just my whole reason for being out here, so I would most eagerly join you in such an expedition, offering what I can. Oh yeah, don't forget about me too. I'll go in there, tight and closed environment. You know, my pipes will probably get some good reverberation in there.
You see, you're coming with
Almost
us
certainly.
whether you like it or not.
Oh.
Oh,
Well, it just so happens that he likes it, Baldric. You don't have to be rude.
I do. I'm really taking a shine to all of you.
Oh. We love you too, buddy.
We have all taken a shine to you. We all completely, uncontroversially love your presence here, and we like it when you talk and play the bagpipes. In
Baldric
fact,
is already
why
walking
don't
to the
you?
cube.
Why don't you play the bagpipes right now?
All right, but I was wondering if maybe first I should do that thing where I make us a cabin for
Don't
the
see
night.
anything I
Oh,
could
yes, do
use.
that. Can you do it while playing the bagpipes?
You know, I've never tried before. Give me a second.
Wait, what time is it?
It's like evening, like it's like into like late evening. Because you spent most of the day exploring, then you basically had to have your people run, go grab your companions, bring them back. You and Rahula have been setting up like a small camp here.
Is the funeral pyre almost done?
Cabin bursts from the ground. He starts, as he plays notes on the bagpipes, things like windows and doors appear. Oh well,
Yeah.
that worked out real good. Never tried that before. Thanks.
The blind idiot Piper has made a cabin. The end is here.
What?
Oh, word.
What?
Oh, sorry, I was getting a bit too excited. Very nice house.
I feel bad for Hoagie. Oh God.
That joke
That
needed
landed.
dead silence. Yeah, that landed beautifully. Oh my God. Well, I've got a cabin for us. We can all rest up if we're gonna go into the strange cube of wonder. Actually, what the fuck does Picturn even know about this cube? I should check his skills and be like,
I would like to make
oh.
a declaration that Picturn does not know anything about the cube and cannot help.
Yeah, no, I'm good with that. I'm okay with that one.
He
He's
has
done enough.
no knowledges that are appropriate to this.
I would like to make the GM work harder.
Well, it's shiny, so that means there might be more shiny things inside. I had a brother who once told me that if there was a shiny thing, you should go grab it, and then you should look at it to see if you could sell it for
Thank
more
you.
shiny.
That
Oren
is true.
can't hear him. He has bud and leaves stuck in his ears. He just sees his mouth moving and goes like, "It's okay, it's okay." And he's put his hand on his mouth to stop it.
Oh, Oren, are you having poor hearing there again? Can you hear me, Oren?
He does not hear. He just stop.
Oh dear, Oren, are you struggling? Do you need assistance? Do you need to hear?
Give him Beethoven's friggin' horn and jam it in his ear.
I can do
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oren, I do not know if you can hear me, but I am going to help you hear again. There are such wonderful things to hear inside. And I would like to go up to Oren. And I would like to put my hands on his shoulders and just kind of size him up just a little bit. I
Looks
see.
up.
Oh, you can hear me now?
No, you put his hand on his shoulder, so he feels that. It looks up. It's like, what the hell is Varua doing?
So Rahua does not respond.
We're good.
Assessing the situation. This boy is filled with mud. And mud is not good for hearing based upon my knowledge of mortal anatomy, so I'm going to fix this. And Rahua will put his hands on either side of Oren's head. And Thurston, you might have to tell me if I can make a narrative declaration for this, but I would love to just shoot little itty bitty tendrils of vines just to kind of get out all the gunk from his ear.
Oh.
Yeah, you can tree lick his ears without making an
You need to not.
Oh.
Putting vines there to get the junk out.
Thurston, I'm beating you with a stick.
That's good. Yeah, you could vine out his ears.
Ah.
Vine was a good
Do I get a
website.
check for this?
No,
Okay.
You just do it.
It just happens.
it just happens.
What's gonna happen? You get a crit fail and you kill him.
Yeah, Oren's like,
Oh, hey,
well, that'd be
can
the
I
most
roll for
awkward
this?
way
Like,
to
you don't
explain
have
Rocky
to.
2.
Falls
Do I
down
have to
dead,
roll?
Respawns in
Do
the
I-
swamp. What the hell, man?
Do I have to roll to clean my
It was
ears?
not my intended effect.
Roll to clean ears. Critical fail. You gouge out his brain on the end of the cue stick.
It's lobotomized.
I don't think Rahua is a Conraso. I think he's a mycelium network that's just pretending.
You know that.
That's
he's a weirdo.
Oren's like, no.
Chat, I see you. You fucking stop what you're posting in chat right goddamn now.
Oren
Brad.
freaks
Oren,
out.
can
No
you
idea.
hear me now? Are you not deafened?
And he's just swatting at you.
Oh, good. You know what helps? Once your ears get uncuffed, a bit of the pipes.
Oren flies away into a
He's
tree.
gone.
Oh,
fly now?
infected. We have to kill him
I can
now.
fly starts first as long as
He
they
can
land
fly
on the
now.
surface.
He flies now.
He flies now. This is natural.
Tannhauser is just going to walk up to Molly.
I don't understand why everyone dislikes these pipes. They're so loud.
Yeah?
Aggressive and grating. And they make what I assume would be ears hurt, but I just can't stop listening to it. Why would he not want to listen?
But isn't it... The louder the music is, the better it is, right?
I think so.
Yes. Perhaps Baldric and Orin simply lack taste.
Baldric is not here. He's gone up to the edge of the cube.
Uh-oh.
Is he going to the cube?
He just
I
disappears.
I just want to look at the perimeter. How close to the cube are you getting?
I will say I will give it a 20-foot berth.
Okay.
Oh, that's pretty close.
Yeah, I made like 120 if I were you.
Uh, fine, 50.
Baldric seems a little bit deafened there, too.
At about 20 parsec.
I go off planet to view it. Yeah, okay, so you approach, like, Baldric, you've walked downhill towards the, do you have a light source, by the way?
I have a torch.
Okay. Yeah, so you come out with your torch, and as you do so, you approach, you kind of walk down, as, like, the bagpipes and shouting are in the background, this, like distant cacophony of sound as you exit and head towards the cube. You reach the cube, and when you do so, you can, like, you see this immense thing sort of up in the sky. You have this sort of, like, torch that you're holding. It's holding out against the rain that's now starting to pitter-patter down. And you go through the procession of these stone, like, statues, that the sort of floating dual triangles that were there leading that processional way forward.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to learn much more at the moment, so I just really wanted to, like, get away from Picturn, so it's fine. I wanted to make it seem like I was doing something good. Alright, let me go here. Perception. Go. Any penalties? Anything?
No, just straight up.
Oop, what do you got? 16.
I'll give you a 24.
And but bonuses.
Okay.
you
So
got
as you're approaching towards this, Baldric, you notice something as you are now standing sort of in this procession looking up at this cube. Four of the like floating triangles seem to be like floating out of sync with the other four. And you see this, like, tiny crackle of electricity from them.
Okay.
Is it like a damaged look, or is it like they're prepping to attack?
It's hard to tell.
Can I make an educated guess with an engineering check?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Then you just give that room.
Yeah.
Go.
16
I will give you a
again.
27.
Yeah, so you're able to tell that, like, they are definitely coming active, would be the explanation that I would give here.
Now, if I back out past the threshold, if I'm allowed to do so, may I try to back up to see if they stop doing that?
Yeah, you could, like basically, like, rush out if you'd like, just to get away from them.
I'm backing up, because I want to observe them as they do their thing.
Okay, how far away from them are you backing up?
I'm far enough away to see if there's any sort of change in their activity.
Yeah, you basically, like, take, like...
Obviously, if I go over the hill and then they're still doing it, then it's like, yeah, okay, no
You
change.
get about, like, 60 feet away, and then they seem to, like, close up again.
Baldric will take his foot and dig out a little rivulet along the ground about at the line where they start to go active.
Absolutely.
There you go.
And then I assume you head back towards the camp.
Nothing else is happening. Everything else is pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Can I make sure that this little rivulet does not like disappear with like the shifting of the swamp by like maybe?
Yeah, like you can
something?
just like pull out a piece of equipment and dig it real deep. So,
Yeah. I just dig it up with my club very briefly.
Yeah, and then like you would approach back to your companions who are, continuing. Well, that was the last ditty I had. I got another one I could prep up, but it's getting awful late. Maybe I should take some shut eye. That way I can be on watch later on. So I'm just gonna go into my little cabin here, and anyone wants to join, little separate areas. All right, have a good night. Oh, bye, Baldric. Welcome back. I'm sorry I didn't get to talk to you tonight, but don't worry, I got some more stories. So it means I can retell some of the stories I told everyone else while you were away, and I can't wait to do that. Good night. And then he walks into his cabin.
Good. Good. Extricated.
Baldric, why do you not like the funny little man?
I have a thing against people who continuously yammer in my ear.
Why?
Tannhauser, I live in a city full of people that do that.
Name one.
Baldric takes a deep breath. There are at least 10 people in the immediate vicinity of my home that all constantly have stories that they wish to tell. There are many delvers who refuse to stop talking about the many times that they've seen some valuable artifact that they couldn't get out because it was too big or too broken or they thought it was too useless, but all had something very interesting to say about it. You have every drunkard in every tavern who's got some kind of war story. You've got every drunkard in every other tavern with some fake war story. You've got tens of thousands of people all wandering day to day with their little kids wandering around their feet, and they all have these big, wild, and extravagant stories. Yes, Tannhauser, I am surrounded constantly by people who refuse to shut up. So,
Good thing
yes,
we're not like that.
if you start, believe me, I'll let you know.
He
Anyway,
looks down at the ground sheepishly.
If you despise living in a city, I can understand that. The question is, why do you intend to live in this city then, with such fervor and dedication to its betterment, even though it seems like you hate everyone who lives in it?
that's a very odd question for you to ask. Suppose I just don't like the fact that they're put down upon. Doesn't matter if I don't like them. I don't hate them. Just don't like it. Very different thing.
I can understand that, and I don't question your righteous pursuit of your own form of revolution. But I can question your decision to take up this particular fight. There are smaller communities more fitting to your social predispositions all over this world. Plenty of communities suffering under the same yoke of Outset. I've come to Outset because I owe it a debt. But I wonder, what keeps you here? Just the injustice?
Well, suffice it to say, the main people I'm trying to take out wrong me in a pretty serious way. So maybe I'm just spiteful. You don't know me terribly well. I can be pretty spiteful.
Oh no, I know. But perhaps we all could do to know each other a bit better. I think that if there was a time or a veil in which we treated each other as strangers, I would figure the first few deaths would have eradicated it. But I still feel a distance.
We'll figure that out as time goes on, I think. But for now... Alright. So, what did you guys learn aside from pick-turn yammering? Because I've got a very basic understanding of a defensive perimeter.
Apparently there is a series of sieges that occurred in Outset's ancient history. I am sure if I did some reading, it would flash straight back to my memory.
Oh,
Beyond
yeah.
that, we mostly just diddled out around the campfire while we listened to Picturn's sonorous bagpipes.
Well, Baldric, having gone to college, he has warfare and outset law, so would he be able to shed any useful light on, like, this particular one? Thurston?
If you have warfare lore, and same with you, Speaker, if both of you want to give me a check, sure.
Hey, I love war.
War, yeah, I love terrorism. It's just like that, yeah.
Gentlemen, I love war.
Major.
No.
Okay,
25.
Okay, a 25. Yeah, so
That's pretty good,
a lot
speaker.
of what you would know, like so Baldric, first of all, like what you know sort of matches up to
Okay,
what
that's
Dita
what
had provided.
all the comments were about.
Like, you know that Outset has been besieged in the past, like lots and lots and lots of times.
How did I miss
That
it?
being said,
Am I recording?
the information that like Tannhauser you would have is that there was a like there have been various eras on time, right? So like one of the earliest eras, what's called like the fundamental era, which was like when creatures with souls began to walk the earth, and like mythologically speaking, the first like beings to walk the earth were like created from energy seeping out of the fundamental battlefield through this like crucible of creation, where it would like enter the material plane and create life. So a lot of the sort of initial species are like thought to be tinged with fundamental energy combined with like the old power physicality. So like the combination of like perfection and air is thought to be associated with elves, but it's not like a guarantee. It's more of like a high myth kind of concept. But a lot of people will often like attribute their lineages, and especially species lineages, to, you know, different types of fundamental powers. But at the end of that era, one group sort of decided not to continue on venerating the fundamental powers. They switched to the old powers and were essentially begging for succor from the ongoing fighting between like law, good, chaos, and evil. And they were like, hey, we'd like to stop this Mad Max world of just roving around fighting each other because our alignment's better. And they ended up beseeching the old powers that gave them the lands of Outset and this sort of idyllic landscape. And so they built this city. And that city, as soon as it was formed, was the site of just countless sieges. Within the first like several hundred years, it just was constantly besieged by forces. And the Perfectites, or like the Perfectites, wouldn't have been quite as active around then, but then in the ensuing like several thousand years after the city really formed, there were a couple like planner incursions that occurred where, you know, a particularly powerful, notable, unique Perfectite might have breached the veil between realities and brought in a force of such things to try to siege the city. The exact reason why various people have like tried to take over Outset is something of an unknown, but you would have enough knowledge to know that, yeah, like in the past, various perfection-based beings have tried, though all of those types of sieges happened so far ago, and long ago I should say, and also they were so alien in terms of what happened that like there wasn't like a name associated with them. It's just like, oh, like 3,000 years ago there was a Perfectite siege of the city, and then there was at some point like in the intervening 1,000 years there might have been two more that had some vague records of.
Yeah. So it's like the Mycenaean Greeks and whatnot. Like, we know they were there. This is their building. We know jack or fuck about who the name of the king was.
Exactly, and especially like in some cases there are like better name recordings. Like if it was like, you know, a warlord from Turlim, or, you know, someone who came from Amari, they might have a name. But especially with like fundamental sieges, they were so alien. Like most of the time, the people who were manning the city at the time might not even recognize what was attacking them. It was just like, oh, guess something's attacking our walls. Gotta defend it.
How interesting. The people of Outset, in their desire to avoid the roving chaos and senseless murder, embraced the newer gods, and by so doing, fought off the fundamental sieges before plunging into their own era of arbitrary and senseless roving murder. Quite poetic.
Alright, here we go.
Yes, it's
One done.
Outset's history is very much steeped in that. It was after they broke their covenant with the old powers that the city people abandoned it. And once they abandoned the city, those people would go on to seed other places across time, and eventually form the first house. But there was, she like looks down, there's all sorts of mysteries once the first people left Outset.
I wonder, perhaps there's a statement there on the nature of revolution, that one must be certain that what new change will bring is more immune to the foibles of the human experience. Or perhaps, Ruhua, that constant of entropy will naturally flow through all movements as it does through human life. What do you think? You would have the most enlightened perspective of all of us, I feel.
Done on perfection. I suppose in my navigations of this horrible contraption, I could be able to glean something more. Well, for mortals like you might be able to.
Baldric kind of air quotes for a moment. The mortals like you.
Dita, tilts her head slightly as well. Oh, yeah. Those Perfectites are going to hate you.
Oh, yes, they are. I hate them ripe.
How could anybody hate Rahua? He's such a delight. Look at him.
It is
He
not
is
by
a-
virtue of anything beyond. Well, what is your nuanced perspective, Doe Lady?
Dita. It's pronounced Dita. She looks down, shakes her head slightly. I was simply going to say you are a stabilized mote. In some cases, motes of fundamental energies, they will form on this plane and they will do so in violent expulsions of corpses, or they will do so spontaneously. But the motes don't stabilize for long. They might animate a corpse, or they might float around for a day or so, and then they disappear. But you, my friend, are is a stabilized mote of, in this case, raw anarchy.
Yes, that is somewhat astute. You seem a bit more learned of our kinds than the average person, to which I commend you for. Although my creation is not without its own foibles, perhaps. The raw destructive potential of, well, a plane of existence intersecting another at such a volatile point, cosmology conjunctions, things like that. There was no shortage of destruction, let me assure you. And we had to leave that city because of it. But you are absolutely right in that these particulums are not entirely far off from myself, although my own
Look like
creation,
barbells with a
itself,
screw
are a bit different compared to your average
in the bar.
motes that make their way onto this plane and linger longer than meat.
Yes, you represent something that is very different to the perfectites that you described seeing at the boundary of the cube. Those are actual outsiders, beings that fight in that shape, in that form on the fundamental battlefield. What you are is a concept that is given form on this plane, and then you manifest like that. So you have something those things cannot have, which is a reason for being here. Those perfectites in there have probably been left to whatever their last commands were.
Correct. And with all of them patrolling about the siege tower, it would be fair to assume that those commands were to defend, and likely at all costs. Frankly, I'm surprised that, given its derelict state, they did not try terraforming the surrounding swamp. Although the Salt has a nasty track record of fighting back that which tries to encroach upon its boundaries. But your guess is as good as mine, though I would anticipate heavy resistance within its construct. Whether or not we'll see something more evolved in these particulums is pure speculation. We don't know if it's still inhabited by any sort of warding system or fusionist constructs, but, well, that's the wonder of the mystery of it all. What's a little adventure without a bit of danger, right?
If you insist.
I'm actually curious for another reason, Ruhua. And Baldric. Honestly, Vali as well. All of us, we encountered that dreadful figurehead. The one emboldened by that strange power the hegemon gave her. I can't help but wonder. Her desires for perfection and universal love. Does that have something to do with the Perfectites? If not them, something related.
I'm not sure if it's necessarily perfection, although their ideas do seem to overlap a bit. If she were sponsored by the perfection, or something analogous to it, I dare say she would not have, well, been as radiant, per se. Perfectite sponsorship is generally forced rather than granted, as you may see by the constructs floating around, is not terribly conducive to the average organic brain. In fact, I dare say we would have been fighting a mass of polygons gradually moving towards some greater alignment than, well, what we had seen in the past.
How
But not
intriguing.
taking may have been the Nephisids, if I recall.
Well, that does remind me, for reasons unrelated to things we shouldn't be saying in front of the corpo, could you give my guns a look over, Tanny?
Ah, yes, happily. I'll take a look at this.
And I will do my magic touch and cause it to radiate lore at me.
Yeah. What's that ability called, Speaker?
I'm glad you asked.
Right, I'm making you open your character sheet.
It has a
open-
name, and you'd be very excited to hear the name. I'm sure you're very curious. The name of that spell is, in fact, Object Whispers.
Very good. Very good. Excellent. So you place your hands over one of the pistols, and it is like psychometrically imparts information to you. Sort of like, not like a whisper or anything, just information that puts itself into your head. Dagger pistols of Martinet Cardoza. Wielded by the tyrant of the Pons Pilaster, who saw the light of beneficence. They fire the same light hurled across the fundamental battlefield in battles for creation.
Oh, that's just great.
Yeah. Beneficence. Could it be that the fundamental
here we
forces
go.
of creation, perhaps it wasn't the perfection, but a cousin, or another one of the forces that the old world fought in the name of?
If you have society or religion, you can give me a check.
You're asking
Oh,
towns or
society.
society.
I'll let you know that we live in a society.
Right.
Wait,
click,
are y'all rolling?
server.
Okay,
No,
there we go.
You can all roll. You can absolutely all roll. This is just a
I got a 17.
Whoops. There we go.
Oh, that's nice.
25, alright. I'm dumb as shit, but I should know society.
Are you giving me society?
Alright, there we go. 38 minutes of build time. Ain't too bad. Alright, join me next week when I get the final 5 built. And what I'm going to do after that, I honestly have no idea. I'll find something. I got a lot of my little kits laying around. Alright. Uh-oh. I'll see y'all later. Be safe. Be healthy. May your rolls be in your favor. Have a good day, week, month, whatever. I'll see y'all later. Bye.